And very shortly, we will be joined by our hostess for the evening, Selena Fox.
Can I turn that on? I suppose.
Selena, we can hear you. We are having some technical difficulties on Selena's side, but she is joining us. So, welcome to the full moon of Circle Sanctuary for November, the feather moon. As soon as Selena joins us, we will get started. Um, we have a large crowd tonight who are assisting us in this, and we'll be talking about moons and feathers and feather magic. And we've got a special guest with us from the wilds of New Mexico. So, and there is Miss Selena Fox. We can see her. Can she hear us?
Hi, wonderful to be here. I'm in a mobile office called Finding the Internet out here in southwestern Wisconsin. And thanks to my husband, Dr. D, who is driving us into the local village. It is so wonderful for all of us to gather here. And the full moon is brightly shining where I'm at here in southwestern Wisconsin. I'm so thankful that we have some multiple means for being connected, and literally members of the Circle Sanctuary community that are here tonight in this Zoom that's being live streamed on YouTube are from different parts of the country. And so now I invite to join us Nikki, who um, can tell us about some upcoming events because this is the beginning of our celebration of Yuletide in December 2020.
Hi, everybody. My name's Nikki. I'm also from southwestern Wisconsin. I wanted to say welcome to our Sacred Feathers Full Moon Circle. I do have a few announcements for the evening. Registration will be opening soon for the Circle Sanctuary Online Yule Festival, which will be taking place on Saturday, December 19th. More information will be coming available soon at the Circle Sanctuary website at www.circlesanctuary.org. Also, the next online full moon circle will be taking place on Thursday, January 28th. There will be more information also posted about that soon. There's several CSNP podcasts from Selena and other Circle Sanctuary members that are upcoming. You can access those and also past podcasts via the Circle Sanctuary website. Also, as Circle Sanctuary has gone entirely virtual this year due to the pandemic, it's more important than ever to support Circle in what ways you're able. Joining our membership program and shopping the Circle online resource shop are great ways to help out, as are donations of any size, which are greatly appreciated. Information on how to help out can be found on the Circle Sanctuary website. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. And so now I invite all of us, whether we're here in the Zoom or on YouTube, whether we're watching live or we'll be doing later, connect with the sacred according to the name or names, the form or forms that you work with the sacred in your own tradition. We call on the divine to be in us and with us throughout our full moon time together. And take a few moments, and as you focus on that, experience yourself connected with the source within you and around you. The divine is one, the divine as many. Divine within us, divine around us, divine within us, divine around us. We call to you, we honor you. We connect with you now and throughout this rite. So be it. And now I invite Richard to guide us in the kindling of our moon fire.
Just a little bit of a background. Full moons, we always have a bonfire. There's a permanent bonfire circle out at the Circle Sanctuary, and I go out there early and start a very nice fire. So we stand around there sometimes and praise the spirits and howl at the moon. Lacking that, I've got a beeswax candle here as part of our renewable resource for a virtual bonfire out at Circle Sanctuary. So I'm going to kindle this. In lieu of a nice big fire, and I hope that this little fire on this little candle warms your hearts, warms your souls, lifts your spirits, and lifts our praise of the nature and the wonder of the great gods out there. So mote it be.
So mote it be. And now I invite all of us, if you have a candle, to kindle it. And if you don't have a physical candle, imagine that you have a light with you. We kindle our candles in celebration of the full moon. And with our sacred fire, we honor the sacred directions. We honor the sacred north, the sacred east, the sacred south, the sacred west. We honor the sacred ground, planet Earth beneath us, the sacred sky, the cosmos above us. We honor the sacred spirit within us. And we connect with the spirit of community within and around. Circle surrounds us. Circle connects us. Circle around us. Circle connects us. So be it. Each month we gather to celebrate the full moon. We are from many paths and many places. What we have in common is our honoring of the divine in natural forms, honoring nature, connecting with spiritual principles of love and well-being, of balance and integrity. And now we invite you all to attune to the full moon. And we begin with some wonderful poetry read by Meredith.
Hello, everyone. I'm also coming to you from South Central Wisconsin, the beginning of the Driftless area, and I'm a beekeeper. So the first poem I found is called Beehive by Jean Toomer, who was born in 1894 and is the author of a book of prose and poetry called Cane, and it describes the people and landscape of Georgia. So Beehive. Within this black hive tonight, there swarm a million bees. Bees passing in and out the moon, bees escaping out the moon, bees returning through the moon. Silver bees intently buzzing, silver honey dripping from the swarm of bees. Earth is a waxen cell of the world comb, and I, a drone, lying on my back, lipping honey, getting drunk with silver honey. Wish that I might fly out past the moon and curl up forever in some far off farmyard flower. And my second poem tonight is by the poet Robert Louis Stevenson, who was born in Edinburgh, Scotland. And this poem is called The Moon. The moon has a face like the clock in the hall. She shines on thieves on the garden wall, on streets and fields and harbor quays, and birdies asleep in the fork of the trees. The squalling cat and the squeaking mouse, the howling dog by the door of the house, the bat that lies in bed at noon, all love to be out by the light of the moon. But all of the things that belong to the day cuddle to sleep to be out of her way, and flowers and children close their eyes till up in the morning the sun shall arise. Thank you.
Selena, we still have you muted.
Attuned to full moon. Attuned to full moon. Attuned to full moon. And now I invite Brianne to join us and to share another lunar invocation of poem.
Tonight I'm reading a poem by Doreen Valente called The Night of the Full Moon. On the night of the full moon fly, host of vampire succubi. Everywhere the moon may shine, there they seek their magic wine. Over forest, over town, in pointed hat and tattered gown. Over wasteland, over roof, leaving print of cloven hoof. Taking any shape they care, bat or owl, cat or hare. Over hedge and over stream, undecipherable into the land of dream. There your darkest wish fulfilled, there by magic work your will. Secret truth is in this rhyme, secrets hid from ancient time.
Attune to full moon. Attune to full moon. Attune to full moon. And I invite Dale to join us and share a prayer to the moon.
This is a prayer from the Christo-pagan path. O divine mother of love, your people are here before you and all creation gathered in your presence, under Mistress Moon, the one you set up to rule the night. We thank you for the gift of life, and we bless you for your goodness. We thank you for the wonder of life and the mystery of love. We thank you for the splendor of all creation and for the beauty of this world. especially the full moon we celebrate tonight. We thank you for the blessing of family and friends and for the loving care which surrounds us on every side. Above all, we thank you for the enduring presence of your Spirit, the Lady, our Comforter, and we ask you to connect us one with another tonight and also with yourself, that as it is above, so may it be below. In the name of the Lord your Son, so mote it be.
So mote it be. Attuned to full moon. Attuned to full moon. Attuned to full moon. And we invite Deborah to join us with a traditional way of connecting with the full moon. Welcome, Deborah.
The Charge of the Goddess by Doreen Valiente, adapted by Starhawk. Listen to the words of the Great Mother, who of old was called Artemis, Astarte, Isis, Aphrodite, Caradwin, Diana, Aaronrod, Bridget, and by many other names. Whenever you have need of anything, once a month, and better it be when the moon is full, you shall assemble in some secret place and adore the spirit of me, who is the queen of all the wise. You shall be free from slavery, and as a sign that you are free, you should be naked in your rights. Sing, feast, dance, make music and love, all in my presence. For mine is the ecstasy of spirit, and mine is also the joy on earth. For my law is love unto all things. Mine is the secret that opens the door of youth, and mine is the cup of wine of life, that is the cauldron of Caradwin, which is the holy grail of immortality. I give the knowledge of spirit eternal, and beyond death I give peace and freedom in reunion with those who have gone before. Nor do I demand sacrifice, for behold, I am the mother of all things, and my love is poured out upon the earth. Hear the words of the star goddess, the dust of whose feet are the host of heaven, and whose body encircles the universe. I, who am the beauty of the green earth and the white moon among the stars and the mysteries of the water. I call upon your soul to arise and come unto me, for I am the soul of nature that gives life to the universe. From me all things proceed, and into me they must return. Let my worship be in the heart that rejoices, for behold, all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. Let there be beauty and strength, power and compassion, honor and humility, mirth and reverence within you. And you who seek to know me, know that seeking and yearning will avail you not unless you know the mystery. For that which you seek, you will not find within you, you will never find it without. For behold, I have been with you from the beginning, and I am that which is attained at the end of life. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Attuned to full moon. Attuned to full moon. Attuned to full moon. And we take a few moments and experience the magic of the moon flowing into each of us, according to our own tradition, according to our own way. We are in tune with the fullness of the moon. We are in tune with the fullness of the moon. We are attuned with the fullness of the moon. Sacred moon, we know you in many ways, in many paths. Continue to be in us and with us tonight in this right blessings. And now we pick our special focus for tonight. For each full moon, we give it a name and a focus. And tonight is the sacred feathers full moon. Why now? Why sacred feathers? Well, there's many reasons. In some places in the USA, people are connecting with Thanksgiving time. This past weekend, indeed, is American Thanksgiving. And while there is a lot of attention on the feasting and some of the traditions of Europeans who came and settled America, feathers were used in sacred ways way before Europeans came to the Americas. And I honor those first peoples of the Americas and call to the ancient ones and have them be with us as we explore traditions not only from the Americas, but other parts of the world. This feather that I have with me came to me as I walked the land. It's from the wild turkey. And I like this particular feather because it's a very long feather and I use it in a variety of ways. It can be a fan. It can be used to waft incense around. It can be used as a wand. And this evening, we're going to be connecting with sacred feathers in a variety of ways. And we also are going to be connecting with what you might call sacred winged ones, our connections with the realm of birds, spirits of birds, and the divine in winged form. Across the world, through time, across cultures, across faith traditions, some of the ways that divinity has been depicted has been in winged forms. One of the ways that I've worked with winged ones is in the form of the Great Mother. In particular, her form as Aset or Isis, the winged Isis, and in ancient Egypt and in the contemporary times, in contemporary paganism. Isis, whose wings, those wings not only represent flight and transformation, but can also be used as a way of protection and nurturance. In the Roman pantheon, there is Mercury, the winged messenger god. And as you consider different forms of divinity, sometimes divinities as a whole might be shown as having wings, or maybe it's just a particular one. And certainly in the transition from old paganism into Christianity as it came to be, some winged ones in the form of angels have also been important in a number of traditions. So tonight we're going to share with you some sacred feather and winged ones traditions and ways of being from many people and many paths. And I'd like to invite Judith to come and share with us a song about sacred feathers.
Good evening. I'm Judith calling in from the original land of the Potawatomi, now Chicago. And I wrote this song to the melody of Ancient Mother, which was written by Robert Gass. Sacred feathers, I give thanks to you for falling on my path. Sacred feathers, please guide my way as I wander through this life. Sacred feathers, I say my prayers with you. May Great Spirit heal my heart. Sacred feathers, I sing to you. Be my faith and spirit divine. May bright blessings be upon me, that I may walk in the light. Sacred feathers, please bless my soul, so that I may be true and whole. Sacred feathers, teach me wisdom, to be centered and loving and kind. Sacred feathers, I give thanks for life, for all I have and all I can give. Sacred feathers, I sing to you. Be my faith and spirit divine. May these blessings be upon me, that my dreams can take flight. Sacred feathers, thanks for your presence. Sacred feathers on my path.
Many blessings. Thank you, Judith. And I invite Reverend Laura to come and join us in sharing from some of her traditions.
Thank you, Selena, and thank you everybody who is here tonight. Thank you for joining on this full moon celebration, a little show and tell. And I'm going to speak to you tonight about life force, Quetzalcoatl. And you have heard me many times talking about death and the dying and the spirit of the dead and the time of Day of the Dead, obviously. But there will be no life without death, and there will be no death without life. And Quetzalcoatl represents precisely the beginning of life, the creator. And what I want to talk to you about tonight is the name and the meaning of the name. Because if you Google Quetzalcoatl, it's going to tell you is the serpent feather and is the god of creation. And first of all, remind you that in ancient native people's vision and philosophy, there was no concept of God and goddess. These are forces of nature. These are representatives of life itself and the planet. And the name Quetzalcoatl means literally Quetzalcoatl is two words together. Quetzal refers to the name of the bird that is aqua, blue, and green, and it's a beautiful, beautiful color bird, and it was regarded as precisely beauty. So our ancient people wouldn't use the word beauty or precious, they would use the word quetzal. And coat means serpent or snake, and they would use the word coat to represent the vibration of life. And as we all know, everything that exists vibrates. So Quetzalcoatl translates literally to the beautiful vibration of life. Of course, if you Google it, they're going to tell you it's the feather serpent. But what the ancient peoples of the Mexica, Tenochca people, the land what is known as Mexico, particularly Mexico City, that's what they meant. They meant to describe the beautiful vibration of life and how the Quetzal represented beauty because the color of the feather of the Quetzal is the closest on color to planet Earth, the green, the blue, the aqua. So as I call for all of us to Quetzalcoatl, take a deep breath and feel within you that beautiful vibration on your heart, on your mind, on your spirit. This is something I've created, is by no means traditional, and I'm just gonna call, and I will do as usual in Spanish and then in English. Quetzalcoatl, la hermosa vibración de la vida, tú que nos das el aliento y que nos permites vivir. Pedimos en este momento tu presencia para que con tu hermosa vibración nos permitas vivir y surcar los vientos de la belleza de la vida. Quetzalcoatl, you who are the life bringer and the life giver, you who are the beautiful vibration of life, you who vibrate on our hearts within us, I ask you to bless us with your presence, to help us feel that beautiful life vibration so we can soar into the world, soar into the life, and be beautiful as you are. Tlazocamati, so mote it be.
Thank you, Laura. And I invite Nikki to share with us a poem.
Thank you, Selena. The poem I'm going to be reading tonight is called The Mockingbird. It's by Alexander Buford Meek. This poem really stood out to me as it highlights the magic inherent in birds. So I'd like to read it for you. From the vale, what music ringing fills the bosom of the night. On the sense, entranced, flinging spells of witchery and delight. O magnolia, lime and cedar, from yon locust top it swells, like the chant of a serenader, or the rhymes of silver bells. Listen, dearest, listen to it. Sweeter sounds were never heard. 'Tis the song of that wild poet, mime and minstrel, mockingbird. See him swinging in his glory on yon topmost bending limb, caroling his amorous story like some wild crusader's hymn. Now it faints in tones delicious as the first low vow of love. Now it bursts in swells capricious, all the moonlit veil above. Listen, dearest, listen to it. Sweeter sounds were never heard. 'Tis the song of that wild poet, mime and minstrel, mockingbird. Why is it thus the sylvan Petrarch pours all night his serenade? 'Tis for some proud woodland Laura, his sad sonnets all are made. But he changes now his measure, gladness bubbling from his mouth, jest and jibe and mimic pleasure, winged Anacreon of the south. Listen, dearest, listen to it. Sweeter sounds were never heard. 'Tis the song of that wild poet, mime and minstrel, mockingbird. Bird of music, wit and gladness, troubadour of sunny climes, disenchanter of all sadness, would thine art were in my rhymes. O'er the heart that's beating by me, I would weave a spell divine. Is there aught she could deny me, drinking in such strains as thine? Listen, dearest, listen to it. Sweeter sounds were never heard. 'Tis the song of that wild poet, mime and minstrel, mockingbird. Thank you.
Thank you. And Sean Thomas will share some perspectives in a poem with us.
Hey everyone, Sean Thomas in Bloomington, Illinois here. So as one does, one goes about life, and every now and again the gods come upon you and tap you on the shoulder and you go, you are mine. And for me last summer, that was, well, actually a summer and a half ago, it was the goddess the Morrigan. And about a year ago, I drew a painting for her. This one, I'll have to bring it up where you can see it. Or maybe I'll just turn off the background video so you actually can see it. Give me just a second. All right. There we go. All right. We're just going to turn off backgrounds. There we go. So now you can see this artwork. So I drew this a couple of summers ago in gift to the Morrigan. This past spring, I entered it into my local amateur art show called the McLean County Art Show, and it won first place for adult graphic, which means adult drawing. Anyway, since I was inspired by that a couple of years ago, I found a friend of mine who I believe in her art form of belly dance embodies the Morrigan. Her real name is Lauren Belowski. Her name of art is Nix Namor, and she is what you would call an industrial Gothic belly dancer. And we went out, I asked her, and she came out with me, and we did a photo shoot of her as the Morrigan. And slowly those pictures have become drawings of her as the Morrigan. So these are all from photos that I took of her in various shoots of the Morrigan. And that body of work has been growing and growing and growing since early this year, since the pandemic hit us. And I'm very, very proud of the artwork that's coming through. And yeah, that's what's going on with me now. Some of that artwork you can see on my Facebook, on my Instagram and stuff like that. And then I wanted to find a poem to share with everyone. And when Celine asked me to do this, I kept racking my brain at anything I had written and couldn't come up with anything. So of course I defaulted to, as a lot of people do, Khalil Gibran, the writer of The Prophet, who's written just about, I think, on every subject there was. And I was wondering if he'd written anything on birds. And I found the first stanza of a poem he wrote called Out of My Deeper Heart that I'd like to share with you. And when you hear these words, for me, when I hear these words, the bird that comes out of me is the Morrigan in her form as a covit, as a giant, beautiful black crow or raven. For you, it might be something else, but that's what I see when I hear this poem in my head, and I'd like to share these words with you. So here we go. Out of my deeper heart, a bird rose and flew skywards. Higher and higher did it rise, yet larger and larger did it grow. At first, it was but like a swallow, then like a lark, then an eagle, then vast as a spring cloud, and then it filled the starry heavens. Out of my heart, a bird flew skywards, and it waxed larger as it flew. Yet it left not my heart. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And Reverend Shar, I invite you to share about a spiritual encounter.
Well, thank you, Selena, and hi, everybody. On this beautiful full moon, I'm hailing to you from the central northern coast of California, the traditional lands of the Awaswas, who in 2012 merged with the Amatmutsin as part of the Ohlone people who used to inhabit the whole South Bay and the coast. I've long been connected to the psychic gift of sight. And I have practiced shamanic journeying and lucid dreaming for many years, therapeutically with others and just as part of my spiritual practice. And I consider it my internal guidance system. And in these practices, I have developed relationships with quite a few spirit guides. And in particular, I have 3 raptors, ocean raptors, who accompany me in different kinds of journeys, but none so surprising as the snowy owl. And I say surprising because she first appeared to me when I was giving birth to my one and only son, Ben. Ben is now 21. I was not a young mother, not having been able to have children earlier. Yeah, I was giving birth for the first time at age 39. And I will receive a collective groan from every female in the room who's gone through labor. The pregnancy had gone very, very well until the last month when I developed preeclampsia and pregnancy-induced hypertension. So the decision was to induce me at 38 weeks. He was already a really big boy in there. He needed to come out. And so I went into the birthing center in Berkeley at 4 p.m. on December 7th. They induced me at 5 p.m. And I then remained in labor for 17 hours with strong labor pains every 2 minutes because of the Pitocin. So you can imagine all I could do was remain very still and very silent, just breathing and being at one with the tumultuous cycles of my body in labor. And honestly, I felt suspended in a trance state between the worlds in the veil. I could hear my husband checking on me. I could hear the nurses talking about how great the birth is going and how well everything's going so smoothly. And I could dimly see people, you know, moving in and out of the room. And thankfully, I remained in my body fully, and I did not astral project. I was staying firmly grounded and very rooted to Ben in my Don 10 down there. So it was just taking forever for my cervix to dilate enough for a natural birth. And sometime around 8 a.m. the next morning, so I'm told, on December 8th, I remember a very, very clear vision of a visitation from Owl, a snowy white owl with piercing yellow wild eyes staring directly into mine. She came at me, swooping down to me and trying to get me to follow her upward, just whoosh. And I remember a full body, mind, spirit connection with her and a sense of urgency. And then I was awakened. Things moved very quickly. My water broke right when they were giving me a fentanyl epidural. And the nurses suddenly became very frustrated with the baby monitoring equipment. And they kept tapping at the monitor and talking about how it'd been going perfectly all night long and what's up now. And they paged a doctor, and this younger woman who had just come onto her shift on the floor quickly rushed in to see me. And she put her face, I remember, really close to mine and introduced herself and went to work, checking the equipment, checking my vitals. Well, I was still feeling very hazy and in and out of the veil. One moment seeing the doctor, the next moment seeing Snowy Owl back and forth and back and forth. And I was able to hear the doctor all of a sudden say, "The monitor isn't working. Something's wrong with the baby. Get her to surgery, stat." And then the next thing I knew, it was like a SWAT team of staff descended upon me, and my gurney was rolling down the hall through swinging doors. And this man was having me count backward with a mask on my face. And then it was out. I was out. Nothing. Just no more hearing anything external, but this vision of the snowy owl flying before me through the dark, moving her wings steadily, and me following her without question, just sensing her energy pulling me forward. And I recall, calling out, saying, "Who are you? Are you an elder? Come to show us the way to safety? Are you the great mother trying to show me something? Are you the harbinger of truth? Are you a messenger from the underworld? What should I do?" And I don't recall any answer, but I had this persistent feeling of peace and trust, just following those wings, moving forward in the void. And I woke about 10:30 in surgery pain. And my husband greeted me and told me we had a boy, Ben, who was now safe. He had said they had performed an emergency C-section and that apparently the umbilical cord had been wrapped around Ben's neck in the womb. And when my water broke, he started choking. And he had in fact come out of my womb looking blue. But due to the swift action of the skilled staff and most especially the call of the doctor, Ben's life had been saved in time. And Andrew held his blue boy as he opened his eyes for the very first time. And the C-section had saved both our lives. So within 2 days, we were discharged. We were going home healthy with no complications. And of course, I was sure to find the doctor who had made the rounds to see me that morning. I thanked her for saving us. And I said, "You're our guardian angel," I told her. And she said, "This is funny because it was one of my first shifts ever. I'm not a full doctor yet. I'm just a resident." And I was like, "How did you know?" when all these experienced nurses all around you were baffled by the signs. And she said, I just had this inexplicable sense of urgency come over me, and I trusted my intuition. Now, all his life, Ben has had a special connection to birds, especially raptors, like me. And at age 8, this kid could call barn owls, and they would come. I mean, he literally did that twice, observed by others. And Ben has felt his owl spirit guarding him all his life, and his spiritual ancestry, of course, Druid, Celtic, Norse, they all have mythology with spirit owls. And until he left home for college, his teen bedroom had an entire wall filled with owl photographs. My mother used to call Ben by her nickname for him, which was Merlin. And before she died, she sent him an illustration of Merlin with an owl. But I will never forget the day when Ben was in middle school. We both watched that beautiful animated film called Guardians of Ga'Hoole. Maybe you saw it. And in that film, there's an image of the snowy owl queen rising up out of the ocean to grab an owl who'd been struggling for his life in the water. She swoops down, she grabs him, she carries him off away from sure doom, up into the air, far from harm, towards safety. And when I saw that scene, I just burst into tears. And that's when I told Ben about my vision of the snowy owl at his birth. And then here's the part that blew me away more than anything else. When I told him about that, he turned to me and he said, Mom, I had that same vision. I remember it. She's always been there. So mote it be.
So mote it be. Thank you so much. Wow, Dree is here to share some ways of working with sacred feathers.
Hello, and thank you all for being here. I want to share with you my wild turkey feathers, and I also collected these actually in the same area that Shar is in right now. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about how the feather and the bird is related to the above and below as they exist in both places. Unique creatures that can fly and can walk and can exist in both of those kind of worlds, and how magical that is, and is also very similar to aromas, particularly plant aromas that have an origin below and also exist above, and they help connect us to the divine in whatever way that works for you as an individual. And I make these little pots that hold feathers, and I will use feathers as a way to passively diffuse essential oils into a space for a variety of reasons. The one I'll talk about now, as we're going into Yuletide, is basically to create an environment that promotes a feeling of comfort, of that familial warming when you're with loved ones. And for that, I have dropped some clove bud essential oil onto this feather. And I also have used some sweet orange oil that brings the kind of warmth of the sun and brings us a little bit of light in this pretty dark time, like literally dark outside time. And then I'm going to add right now, to show you how I do it, some pine needle. And this is representing the vitality of life, the evergreen, and the persistence of pine trees and other conifers through the winter. So I will take a feather, and I use the inside because they're usually kind of rounded in this bowl shape, concave shape. And I'll start at the tip and I'll drip a couple drops that way. and you can, I don't know if you can see this on here, but it kind of spreads through the little zippers of the feather along here and often will drip down the quill. And when all of these 3 oils are on here, the blend of them promotes this Yuletide feeling. And that is making any space that this sits in more sacred to that kind of experience. And I will put this out on an altar, or maybe I would put it out on a dinner table if I was having guests over. You can have it just anywhere that you feel would benefit from creating that type of environment. And you don't have to use those essential oils, of course. You can use any others. But yeah, so feathers are an incredible way to passively diffuse your essential oils and reap the magical benefits of both. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I invite Chip to join us. And he has been part of Circle Sanctuary for a really long time. And I invite you, Chip, to share from your own traditions. And thank you for making it possible for us to connect with you out on that mesa in New Mexico.
Thank you. Thank you, Selena. Can you hear me? The connectivity continues to be an issue here, but I'm hoping that you can hear my words. Everyone, excellent, very good. So I am now in northwestern New Mexico, the traditional lands of the Navajo Dene people, the Puebloan people, the Apache people, and others. Our home area here is within the checkerboard area of the Navajo Nation. We are not on Navajo lands. We are on one of the other squares of the checkerboard, as it were, but we are within the Baca chapter. Baca is one of the Navajo chapters. We are in the lands of the traditional Anasazi people, the early Puebloan people. We live within an area of intact and huge archaeological sites, 800,000-year-old pueblos, what have you, and things are very rustic, natural, traditional here, if you will. My background is varied. For those of you who know me, I often share this. I have ancestry in the British Isles, Norway, Finland, Turkey, Greece, France, Italy, North Africa, Melanesia, Lenapehoking, that is the East Coast Atlantic areas of this country, where the Delaware or Lenni Lenape people are from. They are my ancestors. And the Mi'kmaq people, the lands of the Mi'kmaq being called the Mi'kmaq. And so that is area Prince Edward Island, southern Canada, over north of New York. And I am also, part of me, descended from those people as well. But speaking to the feather full moon and feathers, what they mean, what they can mean, what folks do with them, what folks may do with them. There are so many issues associated with feathers. One could talk about their use and what they are and how they work on many levels. For me, for my purposes, I am learning traditional Delaware language, the Unami language of the Fuller people from the area where I'm from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, southern New York area. There were 3 main groups of those people, the wolf people, the turkey people, and the turtle people, and my people, the area that my ancestors are from, were the turkey people. Turkey is a bird, a very important bird for food, but as well, in addition to sustenance, turkeys also, as birds, fly to the sky. Turkeys don't fly much, but they do fly, and they're very, very important. And with all birds, there's connection to the creator, to the great spirit, Kishile Mieng, Kishile Mpong, the creator as experienced by Delaware people. And so the Turkey people were spiritual people, would be medicine people, priests, people who work in spirit, but also sustainers, people who would hunt, people who sustenance to the people to ensure that the people survive. So the feather connection there, particularly turkey feathers, but other feathers, eagle feathers, eagles, birds, great martial birds, very. Can you, I'm sorry, I lost the connection. Can you hear me now?
You're back. Yes, you are.
Okay, I'm sorry. We are off grid, and the power source for my connection here is my truck battery, and our internet is through the phone, and it's really spotty. So in any event, I apologize. I'm back on here. Back to feathers and birds. Native people particularly, but many other traditional societies as well. And I will say Celtic traditions also claim chiefs wore eagle feathers and raptor feathers. So it's really, it's a global idea, I think, in traditional religions and beliefs, powerful connection with birds, representative of a connection to God or to the creator or the goddess, as they could fly and they could go up and they could carry with them words and prayers of people. And so in my work, I use feathers all the time. There are feathers in my life. There are feathers. I carry feathers with me. I think symbolically it represents prayer, but more than that, it is, I think, a statement that you live in a spiritual way, and your connection with God is ever present, with the Creator is ever present, with the Goddess is ever present, and that is incredibly important for all of us in the work that we do. I think that folks use feathers in many different ways. This I use often in dancing. I use this in formal occasions, wearing it by my side. This goose feather fan with its beadwork, again, a connection to Kishile Mieng, the creator. This, Selena had asked me to share this. I use this in all of the journey work, all of the ceremonial work that I do pretty much. This is what is referred to as a drop feather fan, and these are pheasant feathers. The fan represents an opportunity to speak to many, many aspects of life. It's an analogy of one's life represented on a spiritual plane, a connection to the Creator. There are different feathers that represent the different directions, and one can say prayers on each feather in a spiral, spherical, very interconnected, three-dimensional, four-dimensional way. For me, establishing this staff and these feathers provides an opening of a door and a safe circle, sacred space that I'm able to work in and maintain a connection with the Creator. that through that way. Often people will use drop feather fans. This is a very, very old drop feather fan. It's painted red, white, and blue, and it has an American flag symbol on it. It would be used perhaps by veterans or to honor veterans, for that spiritual connection of thanks to the Creator for these people, these warriors who protected us. And it is ironically a symbol of the United States as well, which many Native people have served in United States militaries. And so that's what this band would be for. Fans may be used for smudging. I have sage burning, and prior to our event, I did smudge the space to cleanse the space, to bring a sense of connection to the Creator through the sage, through whatever herb you may be using to provide cleansing, a clearing, an opportunity to establish that path of connection to the Creator. And again, as I say, this is not exclusively Native American idea. Many traditional beliefs, nature, religions, pagan ways share these beliefs, and it's appropriate, and a connection to our ancestors, and a real symbol of who we are. And so I think that the use of feathers is a good and powerful thing. And the more you meditate on them and use them in prayer, the deeper your connection will be. And I think that through feathers, we do rise in a spiritual sense to the Creator, and that is, I think, a benefit, sustenance to all of us individually and as people. I share a brief story with you. For years, I had worked with golden eagle, brown eagle feathers, and had known an entity, grandmother brown eagle, but did not know her. In a deep ceremonial activity I was engaged in with a number of other people 5 or 6 years ago, through a deep meditative state in that ceremony, I came into contact with her. She literally came into the room to my place to be with me, and I could feel presence. And what she said was, I am grandmother brown eagle. Grandmother, I am. And it was very curious to me that she kept using that language and saying those words. After that ceremony, I did more exploration because it was such a powerful thing. And it's not that was not the only time that I've experienced her physically in that way. Since then, I have been able to do that. But I discovered that I am in Lenape means brown eagle, golden eagle. She told me literally in the ceremony who she was and what she was, and that she had been with me my whole life. And that was an extraordinary awakening to hear her name and to be able to confirm that after that really meant grandmother brown eagle. Now, whom I am in Delaware is grandmother brown eagle. In any event, that was a fascinating thing for me. And I think perhaps part of the establishment of that connection was because of ritual use, using feathers in prayer and what have you. And so I think that we may manifest on many levels a connection to spirit, to Creator, through use of feathers. They're very, very important. And so now for a moment, I'll switch gears and I'll put on a lawyer hat, only for a moment. As many of you know, I have worked as a legal advisor for Circle for, I don't know, so maybe 25 years, 25 years, something like that, I think. And so I can tell you that feathers on a different level are fraught with challenges that I think we all recognize, and yet we don't seem to know what those are. And for the use of feathers, one might argue that if you have a deep, sincere spiritual belief, one ought to be able to use feathers. But in the United States, that is not the case. In fact, feathers are very very highly restricted in terms of use. Native people may obtain permits to receive certain kinds of feathers. People who are not native, who cannot establish an enrollment to obtain those feathers, are actually quite limited in the kinds of feathers that they can use, but those feathers that can be used are extraordinary. Birds that are pets, birds that are not migratory, birds that are game birds. So we have domesticated birds, chickens, geese, ducks, guinea hens, all kinds of birds, large birds, small birds with beautiful feathers. You can find extraordinary feathers everywhere. Feathers that can assist you in your meditations, in your working, in your connection to the Creator. And these are appropriate things to do. So be careful when you're using feathers. Picking up wild feathers from a legal perspective, you probably can't pick up a wild feather unless you absolutely know it's the kind of a feather that would be from a domestic bird or a game bird or something like that. Most feathers, the birds that fly in your backyard, most of those feathers one cannot actually possess. It's not likely that one would be prosecuted to actually have and carry and work with those feathers, but the fact remains that practically speaking, you do have to be concerned about what you're doing, where you're doing it, what kind of activity you're engaging in with those feathers, and so you need to be careful. The international laws are a little bit different. They're what's called the CITES permits. One can obtain feathers from foreign countries and bring them in with a particular kind of a permit that allows you to ensure that the birds are not illegal in the countries they come from, and these documents assure that. So if you're looking for feathers overseas, find a seller who is willing to work with you to obtain a CITES permit so that you can actually legally obtain feathers. In any event, that's a real quick snapshot of some of the legalities of that. I think that, again, feather use is appropriate. It's endemic in societies all over the world. Critically important. I use feathers every day, and I think that it is a benefit to us to incorporate these things into our work because they're meaningful and they're useful. They work, and they should be. Thank you. I think that's enough for now.
Thank you so much, Chip. And yes, those of us who live in more remote areas do have to problem solve with some internet connectivity issues. And at this full moon time, I certainly put forth the prayer that there be more equality, that we all can have really good internet connectivity, no matter where we are, if we want it. So thank you so much for juggling what you could do in order to join us tonight. Well, we have one more sharing about sacred feathers. And I invite those of you who are watching live or watching later, if you have a feather with you, we are going to have Steve do some of his special music and share a poem with us. And as you hear his music, I invite you to attune to the feather or a winged one in your imagination and let the music and the drums and the poetry that precedes it guide you in strengthening your connection with sacred feathers and winged ones. Welcome, Steve.
Greetings all. Yes, I actually grew up literally over the hill, grew up on a farm literally over the hill from Circle Sanctuary out of Blue Mountains, Wisconsin. And I'm also by ancestry a bard. My last name in the old country of County Clare is McCruiton, which means son of the little harp. So we are apparently bards, the O'Brien clan, going as far back as you care to look. which may explain why I tend to play anything with strings that doesn't run the other direction, but I will not be playing any strings tonight. I thought about sacred feathers, and I also thought about what does a feather sound like? And the best way to do that for me was this is being your resident techno-pagan, to come up with an electronic music solution for that. So I have all these mini synthesizers over here that are going to visualize the sound of what does a feather sound like. And while these are doing their things, I'll be doing drum things along with them. But first, going back to Emily Dickinson from Hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, those of you who've been part of our full moon circles, since we've been taking them online, know that we conclude each full moon circle with some workings. And in the next few moments, I invite you, wherever you may be, to join in with remembrance for healing those in need and for healing the planet. For remembrance. I ring this bell to honor those who have died. I ring this bell to honor a Circle Sanctuary minister who died yesterday. Reverend Bella Marie Tina Dare. We remember you, we honor you, we celebrate you and your life, and send support to all your family and friends and all of us in the Circle Sanctuary community who mourn your passing. So be it. And I ring this bell for those who have died and are dying of COVID-19. In the USA today, one American is dying every minute. We remember those who have died and who are dying, and we send support to their loved ones. So be it. Aho, amen, ashe, salam, shalom, namaste, blessed be. Well, Chris the Roaming Gnome is also one of our bards. And in this next part, as he guides us in a healing working with his magical flute, let us send healing to all in need. Those of you who are watching live and later, those teachers of all grades and institutions, for this pandemic has been a challenging time for teachers and for the students and for loved ones of them. Healing to our frontline workers, healthcare staff, chaplains, first responders, essential workers, and healing with those with COVID and their loved ones, and healing to all in need. With our feathers and with our ears, we attune to the healing sounds of the flute. you so much. And may all of us be able to continue to work together for more healing and well-being. And I have with me an image of planet Earth. And as I play the singing bowl, I invite us all to send love and support to planet Earth, our home. Not only the humans that we move past this pandemic, but to the greater circle of nature of which we are a part here on planet Earth and beyond. Be well, be well, be well. We give thanks to all the divine forms that we have connected with today. We give thanks to the feathers and to the birds that they have come from. We give thanks to the various spiritual and cultural traditions represented here. We give thanks to all who joined together, all of our presenters here. We give thanks to Circle Sanctuary, and we give thanks to all of you who've been watching live and later. We give thanks to the earth, the air, the fire, the water, the spirit. We give thanks to the north, the east, the south, the west, the planet beneath us, the cosmos above us. We give thanks to the full moon. We give thanks to the spirit that's within us and around us. Divine is one, divine is many, divine is mother, divine is father, divine is great spirit, divine as magic moon. And though it be time to conclude this circle, know that we carry the circle within us, as well as being part of that larger circle around us. So may we all be safe, may we be well, and as we conclude, we wave our feathers and wave our hands. We give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks. Be safe, be well, much love, blessed be.